bigger.
I'm sure many of you all like to listen to music and do so all the time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a style of music you may not be necessarily familiar with, which is bluegrass music. It's never really made it as big as a lot of other major genres out there. It's definitely a unique genre with a fairly large following in certain areas, especially in this state and other places across the country, even some places around the world. It's had many different influential figures over time that's helped make it what it is today. I was introduced to this type of music at a very early age. I want to discuss a little bit about how I became interested in it, some of the history behind it, and what a bluegrass band is made up of. I became interested in this type of music because I grew up around a family that liked this music. The main influence through my family was my dad. He's always been in different bluegrass bands throughout my life and has always been highly interested in it. We've been to different bluegrass festivals and things, and he's really showed me a lot about it. We've been to places in Kentucky and other states around, and I even went with him to a show he played in Canada once. It's also interesting because in this quote, like the University of Tennessee has, they say that bluegrass and old time are two very historically significant genres, ones that are seen as two of the first truly American exports. Which helps lead to my next point of where exactly did bluegrass music come from. It originated in Appalachia in the early 1900s. And this guy in the picture here, this Bill Monroe, was the guy that they say in the article, Watching Bluegrass Grow. It's widely accepted as the father of bluegrass music. Although he didn't create it totally alone, he received the majority of the credit because he had the first ever known bluegrass band, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys. He helped to influence many other people over the time, some of the early figures, and still influences people today. Bluegrass band can be made up of many different parts. In an article by the Library of Congress, they describe a bluegrass band like this. Typically, a bluegrass band consists of 4 to 7 performers who sing while accompanying themselves on acoustic string instruments, such as a guitar, a bass, a fiddle, a 5-string banjo, a mandolin, and a dobro. A band will usually have most of these instruments, but they don't necessarily have to have all of them. For example, one of my favorite bands called the Tony Rice Unit, their band is made up of 2 guitars, a bass, a fiddle, and a mandolin. Another thing that's interesting about this type of music is a lot of people write their own songs. Many of them go back and play a lot of the old songs over and over, people like Bill Monroe created. So, to conclude, bluegrass is definitely a very interesting type of music that's different from a lot of others, and it's grew and evolved over time and had many different sub-styles in it. It makes it more appealing to different audiences. Some are more modern, some are still of the old times like Bill Monroe. It's something that's interesting because it's one of the first music that actually ever came from America and not somewhere else in the world. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Me.
So, have you ever, personally, I don't mean to person, but like, have you ever wanted to learn, like, personally learn on an instrument any of the bluegrass songs?
Yeah, I've tried to a little bit at times, but got busy and kind of dropped it.